flavors naturally? Can you kind of go a little more in depth on how you create these creamy flavors, these fruity flavors, and
Sure.
how they're a top-notch quality compared to other brands?
Well, the way when I started off my teabacco concept was and this was even back when I was producing my shisha out of tobacco. The goal was to make sure that all the ingredients are 100% natural. And so what I did was I started off basically tobacco has about 4 different ingredients. There you go. Yeah. Tobacco has about 4 different ingredients. It's tea leaves, all natural sugar syrup, and 100% vegetable glycerin, and then the other component is of course the flavoring agents. Now the way it works is the flavoring agents is kind of where your question stems from. The flavoring agents come from a company that I've been working very close with. They actually produce the flavors for the culinary industry. So they actually produce them for cooking desserts or making all different kinds of foods. And I took those ingredients and I applied it into the shisha world.
So it's food grade, it's all top quality.
Everything, exactly. The entire ingredients basis is 100% natural and 100% food grade.
You created a lot of these flavors, yourself, these methods yourself. How long is this process for like new flavors? Do you come up with them all the time, or is it?
Well, what I did was, originally I said I wanted to have like a standard list of flavors, and I had 30 flavors. And I'm working on new ones as we speak right now. I'm thinking about doing, there's a couple of different flavors. I'm actually working on doing Earl Grey tea, and it's going to be made with real Earl Grey tea leaves. And it's going to be unwashed Earl Grey, so you're actually going to have that Earl Grey taste coming out. I'm also going to be working on green tea as well, and I'm thinking about cardamom and jasmine as well. So those are kind of those herbally flavors that I want to push forward. But basically the supplier that I work with, they are very flexible to the point where I can create any flavor that I want. They essentially create the flavors, and I can tell them, hey, I want, let's say, a plum flavor. If they don't have a plum flavor, they will make it for me. I say, hey, I want this crazy flavor, even if it's a mix, they can create it for me. So that's kind of the benefit of working with a company like that.
Then once they produce it, you kind of can test it, see if it's really up to your standards in terms of how the flavor comes through, right?
Pretty much, exactly. The best thing about that company that I'm working through is their production is very consistent. So let's say I don't have to necessarily modify the recipe or tweak the formula to work with, let's say strawberry flavor versus banana flavor.
Sure.
It's pretty much consistent across the board, if that kind of answers your question. So that's the benefit of working with that company. They've essentially made it where it will be consistent. Even though it's not for the shisha industry, it is for the food industry, but we always know that in the food industry, consistency is key as well. You want to make sure that cheesecake tastes like cheesecake every time, or that cherry pie tastes like cherry pie every time. So
one thing you had mentioned is that you make
Thank
your teabacco in small batches. How big are those batches typically?
the batch is generally, when I produce a certain flavor, I produce it in... my limiting resource would be the flavoring agents that I use. It's actually a technique in manufacturing. For those of us who have studied a concept called systems and operations management. So let's say I have 4 ingredients. I look at which ingredient is my limiting resource, and I maximize that resource. And then, because assuming you have more of the other ingredients than you do of that limiting ingredient. So let's say my limiting ingredient would be a bottle of flavor. So I would weigh that flavor, then I would put it into the formula. I work through Excel. I'll put it into the formula and say, okay, Excel tells me I need a certain weight of this, and that ingredient. So I'll prepare those ingredients separately, and I'll mix them together, and then process them the way it should, cook them together, and then out comes, I would say, from typically whenever I'm making a single flavor, about anywhere from 3 to 6 kilos of shisha.